Good morning all. Been doing a little bit of tutoring on the tumbling that I know how to do, and I got one or two videos out there now this past week that shows you kind of how to load your barrels, maintenance on the tumblers. Now I'm going to show you the grits. I talk about them, and a lot of people are probably just goes over their head there. They don't understand the concept, but I'm going to walk you through it. When you're loading up your tumblers, they got first stage, certain grits. First stage is the very first stage you're going to do on your rocks to get them ground down and everything to where you start looking nice. And usually some people use a 30 grit, or I use a 60-90 grit, and it's a very coarse grit. You don't even like to get this stuff in your eyes or nothing. And that's the first stage. That usually grinds them up, gets your rocks working pretty good. And you can leave that in the tumbler for a week. I usually do a week, sometimes 2 weeks, depending on how tough the stone is, like Brazilian agate, stuff like that. That's a pretty coarse stone. Then after that change out, you go to your second stage on your tumbler, and that's usually a 120 to 220 silicone carbide grit. And it's a little finer, but it's still got some coarse stuff going on with it. And this is the final finish, is the grinding down your stone. And then you go to your third stage, which is usually around a 600 grit or 500 grit. I got 500 and 600 mixed together in here, and this is your starting your polishing stage. The only difference here is just the colors. The grits aren't that much different. That's your third stage. And then when you're done with that, you go to your polish stage, which is aluminum oxide. That's what I use. That's what most people use. A nice polish stage. And you usually leave that in there for about a week. This is a week, this is a week. 1 to 2 weeks, depending on your preference. And I like to lid this stuff right away. You don't want no moisture whatsoever in your grits, because you just contaminated it, and most of the time you got to throw it away. So I'm going to lid all this stuff before I'll go on here. That's your basic grits. 60-90, 120 to 220, 500 to 600. They're pretty close. Aluminum oxide, they got cerium oxide, they got all kinds of different aluminum oxide. Now aluminum oxide, I'm going to mix you up a little bit. Aluminum oxide comes in different stages too, and I've got the 1000 grit aluminum oxide. The only time I use this is when I'm going from the 600 grit and doing obsidian or a real fine nice agate. I'll do the 1000 grit aluminum oxide and then go to my polish. Sometimes I'll do the 1000 grit aluminum oxide and I'll go to the cerium oxide polish. And I have a lot of this. This is very expensive stuff. You don't do this on many stones, but I'm using this on my obsidian. And people use it on various types of rocks, like if you're in a contest on championship, tumbling and stuff like that, which I don't get into. They use the cerium oxide. Like I said, it's very expensive. Aluminum oxide is the middle of the road. It's not inexpensive, but it's not expensive, but you do have to have it. Now your fills. A lot of people got to be proper and everything, so they go with ceramic fill. And the only time I do ceramic fills is with my obsidian, or I'm going to tumble glass. Anything that's delicate, I'll use the ceramic. And this is the big ones. They got smaller, way small, and this stuff does get ate up. It does get smaller as you keep tumbling it. So replacement isn't a lot, but replacement is there. This stuff you buy by the pound, or 3 pound or 5 pound bags. And then my other filler is river gravel. Plain old river gravel. I get 5-10 gallons a year on it. And I grab it, clean it out, wash it, screen it, get all the junk out of it, all kinds of junk in it. And that's my fill. And usually the fills, usually better have different size fill, and this has all different sizes all the way down to sand if I'd want to let it that way. So hopefully I didn't mix you all up. You got your gravel fill, you got your ceramic fill, cerium oxide for serious polishing, 1000 grit when you really want to get down into your polishing. That's AO aluminum oxide. You got aluminum oxide for polish. You got your 600, 500, and you got your 120 and 220 grit, and you got your 60, 90 grit. First stage, second stage, third stage polish. This is your average right here. This is all you have to stick to until you get to where you know you can tumble. And then when you get into tumbling and start doing your various rocks and stuff, then you can get into your cerium oxides, your 1000 grits, and all that other good stuff. This is just a little tutor. There's more into it than this, but this is just the basics. This will get you going and get you understanding the concept of tumbling. Well, I hope you understood it. I don't know if this old goat did good or not, but as always, thanks for looking.